Okay, so I'm going to be modeling a coffee station, starting with the coffee machine, basing this off of this part of the Watchpoint Gibraltar map, if you see the image right here. So I'm making the top right here. I'll explain what I've done when I do the bottom. So I extrude scale. I'm going to select the edge and I'm going to extrude that out. I want to make it match the top, but you know, I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but I enjoy making my life harder. Select the faces, extruding those down, and I'm filling in this bottom face. Looks great. I'm just adding in the material so I can get a good look at things. I just added the location, rotation, and scale so that when I inset everything, which went by really fast, it made sure that it did it all evenly. I've added these loop cuts that I'm going to be using to make these button switches. As we'll see here in a second, I'm going to want to select these faces and then inset them, if I can select them. Little inset, extrude out, adding a loop cut, and I'm pulling that loop cut in on both of the buttons, just so now they look like a switch. From here, I'm going to start adding my materials. Every now and again, I'm going to be switching to rendered mode just so I can see how this really looks and how it's going to look when we've rendered it out, which I'll show you at the end. So here's me just screwing up, trying to do all the faces. You know, I'll figure out how to be an artist one day. Looks good. The next thing I want to do is extrude this area at the top. We'll work on that later. And now I'm going to dissolve these edges so that I can inset this base, add the trim. There we go. I'm creating a new object now. It's going to be this strange apparatus. I have no idea what it is. I think it has to do with the espresso portion, but you know, whatever. Adding the material to it, naming it. So I'm gonna inset the base and then extrude that downwards. It's metal, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a metal material that I created earlier. Add this loop cut so I know where this out thingy right here. I only want it to extrude a certain amount, so I add that there. Extruded out, extrude down. Now I'm adding the material and I'm about to realize a really annoying mistake. So that those little bits are too small. So I need to make them bigger. First I'm going to try and scale it. That's not working. That's all distorted. No. So extruding outwards and then get the base, and I'm just gonna extrude those all the way down. There we go. Now I'm gonna make another new material out of a cylinder. This is going to be this little orange lever, and I really struggle to put things in the right place. Again, you know, there's probably a better way to do it. But you know, that's for people who don't like to complicate their lives to figure out. So I'm just extruding and scaling and extruding like I did with the coffee machine. I've got that in place. Now I want to make that little heater thing that goes on this little ledge on the top of the coffee pot. I just took a circle mesh, I put it on top, I filled in I extruded all the edges, filled it in. Now I'm insetting it, extruding up again, adding a little bevel, and I've already got a metallic material added to it. Looking pretty good. I'm going to add another circle. That. Again, extruding the edges of that circle and bringing it in a little bit. Adding this loop cut. Pushing that in. I think this is like the filter part of the coffee machine. I'm not sure. Overwatch takes place in the future, so I don't know how their coffee machines work. So I've made that, adding another material to make the handle of this little filter pot thing. I'm going to scale in the base a little bit right there, bring it up, adding a loop cut to add this part going down. That a little bit, yeah. And then I'm going to add a metal material to it. So it looks like the filter thing that you take out. Adding another circle. And I actually forgot to record that part, as well as the ceramic mugs. So from here we're cutting to me making the disposable paper cups. I've added a loop cut to the cylinder and I'm going to extrude it out to make the hand, like cardboard hand part. And I'm extruding out the lid. Adding the orange material as well as the yellow and brown little like holder thing, and then making the white top and insetting in the top a little bit. So this has some designs on it. So I'm taking the knife tool and I'm just cutting in a rough estimate of what that weird design is. Fiddle around a little bit. Now I'm just adding these little loop vertices, dragging them out to fill in the shape a little better. Again, I have no idea what it is. And then I'm going to select all the faces and make them the right color, add that part, and that cup is done. Now I'm going to make the coffee table. So I'm just starting with a cube again. I'm flattening that out. Got it looking about how I want. Now I want to work from the bottom. I'm adding some loop cuts in like this because this is where I'm going to be extruding the table legs out once I get that settled. I'm selecting these faces and extruding downwards on the Z-axis. So there's this little like inset part to the table, so I'm just adding these loop cuts on the legs because this is where I'm going to be extruding out from. It doesn't go all the way down, so I'm adding more loop cuts for where it's going to stop. I didn't get them right, so I'm just fixing them on the other side. Now I'm just gonna, I'm trying to fill the faces in, but it's broken. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I ended up having to extrude these all just into the other mesh. I probably shouldn't do that, but you know what? I'm going rogue. There is a small little ledge here on the bottom, so I'm just gonna add this in with more loop cuts. And I decided, since this goes all the way across, I'm just gonna make this easier on myself. Boom, done. Okay. I'm gonna start adding materials. So got blue. The top is silver, so you're gonna watch me struggle for a minute to select the right faces. I don't think I had my coffee yet when I was doing this part. I'm adding these loop cuts because they're going to be the trim that is silver on the table. I was having trouble selecting the whole thing, so I just had to do that. That time it worked for me to select the whole rim. I'm beveling out the edge a little bit, and I'm going to try and bevel this part, and it's going to break, and I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen. Another loop cut. Trim, adding that in on all the visible sides. I'm just going to ignore the back, because whatever. This part's metal too, so add that. Adding the loop cuts again. I don't know why I'm messing with the leg because the loop cuts aren't there. There we go. The silver trim and a little more trim right there. Awesome. Let's check it on rendered view. Pretty good looking coffee table. I'm going to shrink this down and put a copy over here. I always keep a section off to the side that's just full of my finished assets, so I have like a copy that I can use later. I'm going to just drag this to its home here in the mesh, pull it down. It's going to take me a little bit of just like resizing this. I'm just scaling it up and down, left and right on all the axes, trying to get this to fit and look good. Looking pretty nice. Now I'm going to take this tray that I didn't record me making down on the table so it looks good. I'm adding in the coffee machine. You can kind of see the coffee pot that I made. Getting that settled. I'm going to take the ceramic cups that, again, the recording didn't survive. Bringing those in, shrinking those down to like coffee cup size. Now I'm going to place them on the tray, rotate them around a little bit so they look, you know, a bit more organic, like they've just been moved around. Making sure that they're like sitting actually on the tray and not floating. So duplicating and adding more. So I've already duplicated all 3 of these paper cups that are sitting on the table. Just gonna scale those down and scale them down again. Start placing them on here. And when I'm done struggling to navigate the 3D space to place these on the table, I'm going to do a sample render and we can see how it looks, and then let me just rotate these. There we go. Right, here's what it looks like from inside. Here's a small version, and then here's me rendering it out. Looks great.